Well, good Friday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is December 9th, 2022, 7:55 a.m., and we are one game into the Week 14, 2022-2023 season. Before we get into that, quickly, if you're a Met fan, team added some hands this week. Justin Verlander will now be a pitcher for your team. I think that's a nice upgrade. Um, Also, Yankee fans, Monday or Tuesday you were around Aaron Judge, and now you have Aaron Judge for the next 9 years. A tremendous contract. I love that Judge is a Yankee. Um, just a steep contract, and I know the money doesn't come out of my pocket, but that money could have been divvied up for maybe two players or three players. But hey, Judge is here, and now it's up to Brian Cashman, who also got a new contract renewal, to add to this team. Um, as Yankee fans, we are not content with 98 regular season wins and a second round bounce out. We expect World Series appearances and championships every year, and I know you're not going to get that every year, but making the playoffs is just not acceptable for this franchise. So before we get into our Jets, let's talk about last night. If you're a Jet fan, you're waiting for the Rams to beat the Raiders. The Raiders go back to LA, where it looked like it was 60-40 fan base, maybe Raider fans there. Um, you have this team that uh, is trying to find itself. David Carr came out, made an emotional speech a few weeks back. They ramble off 3 wins in a row, and they get to 5-7. And as a Jet fan, you're looking at the Raiders saying, they're creeping up on us. We're at 7 wins. Win last night against a beat up Rams team, and they're one game behind us. Um, so you root for the Rams. I put on the game, and Baker Mayfield is now the Rams quarterback. And this just shows you the life of an athlete. First pick overall 2018 draft. Okay, so you have Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, and then Sam Darnold. Donald's on his second team and named the starter for the second time on this team. Saquon has had his injuries, his ups and downs. He's kind of reversed that this year with the Giants. And then you have Barkley, who's on his third team, second team this year. He went to Carolina, stole the job from Mayfield, or won the job over from Darnold, and then just things started happening. I'm not a Mayfield fan. Never was. People say, "Oh, because he didn't go to the Jets." I didn't want him. I wanted Darnold. So silly me. Josh Allen was also in that draft, but not a Mayfield fan. But what he did this week, he got traded, I believe, on Sunday night or Monday. Got to the Rams late Monday or Tuesday. Had one practice. Um, you know, Studied all week. Met with his coaches. Met with his players. And last night, in a game where it was 16-3, very very late in the game, he orchestrates two drives, gets two touchdowns out of it. With 9 seconds left, ties the game up, and then they win on the extra point. So congrats to Mayfield. Who knows? Maybe this is a new landing spot. Um, who knows if he goes anyplace else after this? Who knows what it does for the Rams organization, who is coming off a Super Bowl win? I mean, people forget that. They won the Super Bowl last year, and now they have 4 wins this year. And there was talk of Sean McVay not being back there next year, but I think this might have just revitalized this team's hopes for the future. Um, but we don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if Mayfield will be there next year or what happens because, it is what it is. That's the life of a football player, especially a quarterback. So, speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about our Jets, Jets. Tremendous, tremendous game coming up now in Orchard Park in Buffalo. Um, yes, we beat the Bills about 4 weeks back in early November. We caused, I believe, 2 or 3 turnovers in that game. Um, I think the Jets can hang with the Bills, but the Bills right now hold the number one seed overall. They would get the first round bye, and playoffs would go through Orchard Park. This is reminiscent of the early 90s in the NFL, where the Bills played in Orchard Park, and you went there and it was 10 degrees and it was snowy and it was icy, um, and they just had the home field advantage. Um, I can remember Kyle Brady talking about a game up there in '98 where it was so cold where he said when he bit into his mouthpiece, you heard the cracking of the ice. So there are many um, obstacles when you go up to Orchard Park any time of the year. This time of the year is where the Bills, um, I don't want to say what say, lay their flag and defend their house or whatever other, you know, um, cliches you could say. But this is a tremendous game. A win here, and the Jets would sweep the Bills, so they'd have every tiebreaker imaginable against the Bills head to head. It would also get the Jets to 8 wins, which would be one game behind where the Bills are right now, and I believe one game behind Miami. So this is, I think, a bigger game for playoff implications for the Jets than it is for the Bills. The Bills are going to make the playoffs, whether it's a wild card or a number one seed or a division winner, but they're going to make the playoffs. The Bills, of course, would rather have the home field advantage. Whereas Jet fans right now just want to get to the playoffs. But you have to look at the bigger picture. Can you move up? To do that, the Jets are going to have to play a complete game. And when I mean a complete game, um, last week, mistakes that happened didn't happen the first go around with Mike White. Um, a pass off Corey Davis' shoulder that's picked off on the first drive. Um, Getting into the red zone 5 times and only scoring one touchdown. On your first 5 scoring possessions, field goals. So when you have the chance to get a minimum of 30 to 35 points, or I should say a maximum of 30 to 35 points, and you're only pulling 15 out, you're scoring half your potential. That came back to bite them. First and goals and getting stuffed, the line has to play perfect. Mike White cannot take any sacks. Mike White cannot be under any amounts of pressure. And the play calling has to be there. Uh, Look, I have um, no, I don't want to say bad feelings, but I was fine with them throwing to Berrios. I was fine with them throwing to Conklin. I do know you have Corey Davis and you have Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore, but you want Mike White to hit who's open, who is going to make the play. Um, I think LaFleur needs to put in a better overall game plan. The game plan against the Bears in the rain was fine. He did the same thing last year at White. He seems to accustom his game plan for White very well. They're going to need a great game plan this week. Um, I'm worried about this game, and because as somebody called it on NFL Network earlier, this is a swing game. If the Jets lose, okay, they're at 7-6. That is a lot different than 8-5. Okay, that is a lot different than I think they were 6-2 at one point, or whatever they were, or 5-2. 7-6 now is nail biting. Now you have to play near perfect ball the rest of the season. And believe me, after winning 4 games out of 17 last year, they have to play near perfect ball this year to be successful. But at least now they had those cushion of games. Here you go. You have 4 games left. 4 games? 5 games left, including this weekend, to, get a handful of wins in. I don't want to say it's going to take 9 wins. I don't want to say it's going to take 11 wins. I don't want to say it's going to take 10 wins because you don't know what the other team's going to do. But if you go out there and you just win, if they win out, which is not probable, but it is possible, they're in. Um, so go out there. Your first game you have to win this week is in Buffalo. Prepare for it. I spoke of the Buffalo Bills home field advantage in January and December and late in the season here and the playoffs and whatnot. This weekend's forecast. I mean, it looks like the whole Northeast is going to be under some sort of wet precipitation. I think they're calling for um, rain and intermittent rain and snow showers in the morning on Sunday, and then intermittent snow during the day with some rain, depending on what the temperature is. Probably a little bit windy up there as well. Um, from what I saw from Mike White a few weeks back, he could throw in the rain, and the Jets can play in the rain. So can the Bills. So the home field advantage may not be as tilted to one side to the Bills, but it's there. What the Jets need to do is get to Josh Allen like they did 3, 4 weeks ago. Make him make the mistakes he wants to make. Make him, not what he make. Make him make the plays he doesn't want to make. Let him be pressured. Get to him. Knock him down. He played flawlessly against the Patriots last week, where everything he did worked out. You can't have that. Um, on defense, you got to get to him. Sauce, and Reed have to play lights out in the backfield, in the secondary. Up front, you got to get to Josh Allen. On the opposite side, the offense, you got to keep Mike White upright. You got to get that running game going. Once you get that running game going, Mike White can start picking you apart as well. And special teams, you can't have any clunkers. You have to have your punts have the distance. You have to have your field goals accurate. It's just got to be a perfect game because this is a tough team, a division team. This is a tremendous game. Uh, so before I give you my predictions on this game, I just want to, talk about, some Buffalo history with the Jets. And I know I did this a few weeks back, but there are few games that stand out. Like I said, the first game ever I went to in the Meadowlands was Monday night Buffalo versus the Jets, the pumpkin game. Actually, the game where they started the rule that they wouldn't serve alcohol after halftime. Um, you fast forward a few years later, and it was a Monday night game against the Bills when I started going to the games regularly. And they lost there. And there were years where we lost to the Bills and lost to the Bills and lost to the Bills, and the Bills were in the playoffs and the Bills were going to the Super Bowl, and it got tired. It got tired of saying, "Oh wow, that's you know uh, Andre Reed. Oh well, that's Don Beebe. Oh well, no, that's Dermot Thomas." You got tired of that. You got when are we going to beat these guys? When are we going to beat Bruce Smith? You know, and then the year Pete Carroll became our coach, we swept him, and you were like, all right, things are starting to swing, and then of course swung the other way. Um, but '98, uh, the Jets were going for their first division title ever under Parcells, and they had to beat the Bills. They had already clinched the playoffs the week before against Miami. I think it was a Sunday night. And then you had the Bills the following Saturday, and it was about, I think it was like December 17th, around that time. Um, you go up to Orchard Park, and that's the game where I said Kyle Brady said his mouthpiece when he bit into it crunched. And I remember I called into work that day to do inventory. So I brought my little portable TV and I had it on, and you had this one play where um, Testaverde hits Derek Dietrich Ward down the left sideline, and he makes a basket catch. Basically, the defender misses him, and he scores a touchdown. Um, and then the last play on defense is basically, I think it was an interception, and the Jets win the division, get the number 2 seed overall, and get a bye in the first round. You know, um, so that was one of the big wins up there. Then you had an 02, I believe it was 02. Um, you had where the Jets returned 2 kickoff returns. One was in overtime. I think it was Morton was his last name, Chris Morton. Um, he had one during regulation, then they kick off for overtime after Drew Brees gets the game tied, and they win on the kickoff. Uh, you know, and then you had some games at home, but I think one of the games that I'll always remember as a Bills game, and my buddy George could tell you this because he always says that effing Bills game. It was 2001, and again, that season was just crazy because of the 9/11 events and how things were pushed back a week. And, you didn't know to be happy, you didn't know, but after a while, we started going back to the games, and it was a miserable, cold December weekend. It's always like we play the Bills either when it's extremely hot or miserable weather. And, excuse me, and my father and I had an extra ticket to this game, so I called my buddy George, and he was coming to the games a lot that season, on and off. Um, Herm was the coach, and back then during the game, I would get antsy. I wouldn't sit in the seat. I have this thing with a lot of crowds and stuff, so I would get up and walk to the back. And in the old stadium, there was a handicap sections at the back of each section, and they were closed off on the sides. Where you could stand behind them, actually, almost in the plaza area. And I would stand there, and I had my area where I'd stand, and just a sloppy game going back and forth, and they lose in the game, and my buddy George comes and meets me up there, and he's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "You know what stinks?" I said, "I don't want to leave. They're going to keep us here. They're going to make us wait here, wait here, wait here to watch this game. We're going to be disappointed." And lo and behold, they came down to the final drive, and on fourth and something, Testaverde made a play that made no sense. And I was a Testaverde fan, and I was like, "What was that? What just happened there?" And we get in the car. We do our post game ritual. We go back to the car. Usually we'd go see if we get autographs, meet the players, or what have you. But it's miserable. So we go back to the car, and I guess we're eating something. We have the radio on, and they're interviewing Testaverde. And basically, Testaverde's response to a question on that last play was, "I couldn't call an audible there. I had to call what was thrown into me." Almost saying like he had no say on the play. And George was so pissed. And I was like, "Nah, I get it. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt." And we get home that night, and we're watching Sunday Night Football, and they're all talking about how the playoff implications of that game, the Jets are almost dead and buried now. And it didn't hit me, and I'm like, "Kill my quarterback, really? Like that's what's gonna happen?" Like I can't believe he just I don't know why I said kill my quarterback. I think I was playing Madden at that point too. And I'm like, I can't believe, because they told him to call an audible, or he felt he couldn't call an audible, he basically spitefully ran that play when he knew there was a better play. Um, so it kind of I always remember that effing Buffalo game. And George will tell you that, but um, it was something we'll always laugh about. But I still remember it. Just miserable weather, and now we're going up there, miserable weather now. Um, and you know, you got to see if times have changed. Are we ready to take this next step? And Coach Sala, LaFleur, Ehrlich, all of them need to have this team playing like a finely oiled machine. They have to be perfect this week. There's no room for error in this game or in the standings. So I'm going to give you my prediction for this game right after I do my predictions for the NFL and the other games this weekend. So, when it gets to this late in the season, it's always, you can always get a feel for teams. Um, the Ravens and the Steelers are a huge rivalry. Unfortunately, this year the teams are in two separate areas. The Ravens are top of their division. The Steelers are not. They're not even close to the playoffs. They're playing in Pittsburgh. The Ravens lost their quarterback week to week, Lamar Jackson, with a severely sprained, I think, ACL. I'd be lying if I told you exactly. So I don't believe he's starting. They are getting 1.5 points in Pittsburgh. You know, I'm going to think that the Steelers can win this one at home. Um, Mike Tomlin, I think, will have his team ready. And I think the Steelers win this one Um, it's going to be a low-scoring, sloppy game. I'm going to say 17-16, so they will not cover. The Ravens will get the 1.5 and win that way, but I think the Steelers win the game. Uh, Jacksonville at Tennessee. Jacksonville is a bipolar team, worse than the Jets, because they didn't ramble off a handful of games in a row. They don't have that defense. It all falls on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. Tennessee is top of their division. They are fighting for that number one seed. I don't know if they can get there, but they are in the playoffs, and they should win their division. Um, they're giving 3.5 to Jacksonville. They played in Tennessee, and I think Tennessee wins this game outright. And I think they beat Jacksonville like 20-10, so they cover. Another game that would usually be marked on the calendar: Kansas City and Denver. Playing in Denver, Russell Wilson is your quarterback, and you're getting 9.5 points against the Chiefs. Um, things have just not gone right in Denver. You'd think with Russell Wilson going there, they have their new quarterback for the ages, um, but just not working out. 9.5 points. I'm going to say Denver loses the game, but Kansas City cannot cover. I'm going to say Denver getting the 9.5. KC wins 24-17. And then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams fighting for the playoffs. The 49ers lost Garoppolo. It was initially said he's lost for the season. He may be able to come back if they make the playoffs. You have the quarterback that's been in the league. I think they said when Tom Brady came into the league, the quarterback for the 49ers, I do not know his name, was 6 months old. So that just shows you, how long Tom Brady's been playing. San Francisco is getting 3.5 at home. And I think Tampa Bay wins this game. I think Tom Brady outplays the youngster. Tampa Bay defense gets to him. And I think it's 23-10 win for Tampa Bay. So our Jets going up to Orchard Park. They are getting 10 points. 10 points the Jets are underdogs by. This is a team who's playing for the playoffs. There's a team who already beat this team that they're playing. They already beat the Bills, and they're 10-point underdogs. So, listen, I said I'm nervous about this game. I don't know what's going to happen. Every time you doubt Mike White, he kind of comes back. Every time you feel Mike White should just roll over them, he does not. I know he's only started 5 or 6 games in his career. With my heart, Jets 23, Bills 19. If I had a bet with my head, Jets 17, Bills 16. I think that the Jets 10 points is a tremendous spread, and I think that the Bills don't cover it. I think it's a close game. With my heart, I think the Jets can put more points up. With my head, the elements, just the importance of this game, I think it's going to be a nail biter through and through. And it may come down to a final possession like last week, and we shall see. But that's what I'm calling. So, Jet fans, I hope I'm right. I hope we have a Victory Monday video. But in the meantime, check us out on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is at the Jets Takeoff. Or is it the Takeoff? Hold on. I always get this mixed up. So, yeah, it's at the Jets Takeoff. On Facebook, we are called the Takeoff. It's a Facebook page. You can email us at thejetstakeoff@gmail.com. And of course, on this YouTube video, the account name is The Takeoff. The channel name is at The Jets Takeoff. You can Google that. You can Google Alex Parziali. Um, you know, email us. You're heading up to Orchard Park? Send us some photos. What did it look like up there? What are the fans like up there? What was your trip like? Are you watching it locally? Um, you know, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the game. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your pictures. Send us your experiences. Send us your critiques. Subscribe to this video. Like this video. Dislike this video if you want. Send us your comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to put more content into this. Um, but for right now, for this season, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it, um, the same as we've been doing for the last, 15 to 16 weeks. And, just discuss our team. So have a great week. Get your Christmas shopping in, Hanukkah shopping in, Kwanzaa shopping in, whatever you have to do. Be safe, be healthy. Have a blessed week, whichever you say. And I will talk to everybody, hopefully with Victory Monday or even a rapid reaction on Sunday. So keep a lookout for that.